Hi, Angie here with Greenstyle. Today I want to walk you through a few quick, simple steps to change the back pocket of the iron joggers from a zipper pocket to a welt pocket. So we'll get started now. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your original pattern piece for the optional back zipper pocket, and you're going to make this cutout a little bit longer or wider, taller. So take your pen and measure out, instead of it being 1/2 inch, it should be 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take and measure that out and add 1/4 of an inch to the existing measurement. I'm going to draw a little line because I want it to be 3/4 of an inch. And you can see, when I put in my zipper, I left it a little narrower than the existing line. So I'm probably going to do the same thing. So in this particular case, I'm going to cut that out, and my overall pocket length is going to be 5.5 inches instead of what's marked out here as 6. It doesn't matter if the person you're making the joggers for or you have really large hands. You might want to go that full 6 inch, but in this case the end user does not, so we're not going to worry about that. So we'll cut that out and we'll square that out. The other thing that we're going to need to do, I'll go ahead and cut that out. The other thing we're going to need to do is add overall length to this, because what we're going to end up doing in the long run after it's cut out is folding that up. So we made this 3/4 of an inch. We're going to add 3/4 of an inch to the pocket somewhere along this straight area right here. So it doesn't really matter where it is. You just want to add that length before you get to the curve. So just pick a place somewhere down, draw a line, cut across it, and then you'll end up with your pattern piece looking like this, where I added length to that overall pocket, 1.5 inches. So if your opening is 3/4 of an inch, you need to add 1.5 inches to the length of this piece of pocket. And then you're going to cut a piece out of your fabric, and this part is going to show. So you want to use whatever fabric you have that you want to show through on the welts. So I am using self fabric, or the same fabric the rest of the pants are made out of. You also need to cut one piece of fabric that's going to be for the back side of the pocket. And for these joggers, I like to use a really lightweight woven or stretch woven fabric for that liner, just to reduce the bulk across the back. So I'm using this stretch woven fabric, and it's really light. It's what I like to make moxies out of. You can get this at several different locations. The Fabric Fairy carries it, Fee carries something really similar, and it's just a really lightweight, and it has a little bit of stretch to it, but not a ton, and it's a really nice thing to use for the lining of the pockets. So you'll need to cut one of those in the original length, no cutouts needed, and then you need to cut one piece in the extended length as well, and that will be of your self fabric or whatever fabric it is that you want to show. So we'll do that first, and then take it upstairs and I'll show you how to sew it. Okay, just like the instructions say, you'll also want to make sure that you put like a little rectangle of stabilizer on the wrong side of the back pants pocket area. And then you're going to flip it over to the right side, and oh, I wish this was a better color. This pocket that you cut out, that you extended the length on, is going to line up on that. And I'm going to take this pocket piece right here, it goes this way, and I'm going to mark I use my kids' sidewalk chalk. It works pretty good. And I can always find it in a big bucket in the garage. So whenever I need some, when I pull it off, it's a nice line. So you know that's where you're gonna stitch. Again, right now, this is with right sides together. So this is the wrong side, that's the right side. This is the right side, that's the wrong side. And I put a bunch of pins here just to make sure that it stays in place and it doesn't go anywhere when I go to sew it. I want it to be nice and straight. I'm running out of pins. I've got 3 other projects pinned up right now. So I like that. So now I'm just gonna go up to my sewing machine and I'm gonna stitch up, over, down, and around. And I'm gonna make really tight, sharp pivot points at the corners right there. All the way around. I always start somewhere in the middle, go to pivot, 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 and pivot, and then end up here in the straightaway. Okay, so I have taken this upstairs to where I sew, and I stitched around the chalk line where I stitched, or where I marked it earlier. And then on the other side, I just took the ruler and I drew a line right down the center of the box and then off to a 45-degree angle, give or take. It doesn't have to be exact, on each side. And that's where I'm going to cut this particular pocket opening open. So just kind of start with a little snip and then get your scissors in there. And it's good to use some really sharp pointy scissors for this because you're going to want to get all the way up to that corner. Make sure everything's good on the back side. Stitch as close to the corner as you can without clipping through the stitches. All the way up, real tight right there. Same for the other side. Just cut up straight up the center. The stitches got a little ugly there. Real sharp. Real tight right there. Just like that. So the next move is to push that through to the other side, same for the top. Let me lay this down, and we're going to take and work it a little bit and pull it, and you're going to go back to your ironing board and you're going to press this open and you're going to press it. Sometimes it helps if you press it in that direction first while it's open and then pull it up and then press it. So this is a nice, tight, clean press right there, and it lays flat. So do that first. You can use some, just make sure you check the heat on your iron and make sure you're not going to melt your fabrics. Some things with a lot of spandex or lycra will sometimes melt. This performance fabric, I'm using Greenstyle's Deluxe Supplex in the Navy as Night colorway, and I really like it. I think I'm making these for my husband. I think he's gonna love them. So go press that up, make it nice and clean, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so far, as I was up there pressing, I started thinking, so far we're really just doing the almost exactly the same steps that we do for the zipper that is outlined in the instructions. So up until this point, the only difference is we have extended the length of the pocket by 3/4 plus 3/4 or 1.5, and then we've cut the pocket piece a little bit wider than, I think before it's 1/2 and now it's 3/4. So up until this point, all of these directions are still the same as they are for the zipper up until this point. So now the only thing that we need to do, or the next step that we need to do, is on the wrong side, or the back, the wrong side of the back, we're going to take the pocket piece and fold it up to match the same height as the top of the opening. So you're just going to take the back, fold it up so it matches that height. And then you're going to take a few pins and pin that little fold to that edge that is left open or that you can pick up on each side. So you're going to pin that. And then take a look at it on the other side and make sure that that looks like something you like. So that's how it's going to look. And I hope that, I know it's a dark color. I'm going to zoom in. I don't know, that didn't zoom in. I will pick it up. So that's how it looks. And I think that looks pretty snazzy. It looks really good. After we put the back side of the pocket that we cut out of that lightweight woven, obviously you won't see through it. What you'll see is the back side of that woven piece that we picked out. So we have that. So once we feel like, oh, that looks really good, we're happy with that. Where we pinned it, you might fold it back. And in that area that we pinned it, there's actually, let's see if I can find that. That little triangle piece that we cut when we cut back at a 45. It's really good to take that pin across there because you really want to try to catch that when you stitch it. So you're going to actually pull that back and you're going to stitch from there to there, and that's going to cover and catch that pleat that you just made or that fold up that you just made and keep that permanent. So what I'm going to do is transfer that pin from that side to that side, and I'm going to stitch this fold in place and keep it there right along there. So I'm just going to go from where that fold starts to where that fold ends on the wrong side of that, so you'll have that look. All right, so I have sewn just along that little edge right there, from there to there. I'll clip my threads. Probably should have used a white pocket and black stitching or something. So that's the wrong side. So you shouldn't see those stitches at all on the front side because you've only picked it up and sewn from there to there. Now, if you want, now's your chance to top stitch. If you want, you can top stitch all around this opening right here. For this particular case, I feel like it's a nice clean fold, and I just decided not to top stitch tonight. So I'm going to move on to the next step, but if you wanted to top stitch, now would be the time to do that, top stitch all the way around. Next step would be to take that piece that you cut of the lightweight woven or any other lightweight fabric that you've got on hand, lay it on. It should match up now. And you are going to sew, pick up the 2 pocket pieces only. You're not going to sew through to the back, only the pocket pieces. And you're going to sew all the way around the sides, around the bottom, around the curves, and back up to the other side. So you're going to sew down, around, and back up. Only these 2 layers here. And you can leave this opening open if you'd like, because it's going to get caught in with the waistband and you don't have to worry about it. So really you just have to do from here down and up. All right, so I think that this was the last step. What I've done is just added that pocket piece to the outside or the edges, sewn all around the edges. And I used a serger because I like the edges to be clean inside. And that's that. So that's sewn to that. And then I've left the top open. I'm going to catch that. I'm actually going to go back and baste across the top. But it'll get caught into the waistband. So that's what it looks like from the wrong or the right side. And you can see, and I used black on the inside, but you can see through when the pocket is kind of open, but when the person is wearing it, it shouldn't show very much. So You can use something fun if you want along the inside and make it a little bit fun, or just stick with something really simple and boring like black. Anyway, that's that. That is how to modify the zipper pocket on the iron joggers, or really any jogger. But that's how to modify the zipper into a welt pocket. Thanks, guys.